What happened? You said 20, certainly 25 years ago, we had if not the best, one of the best education systems in the world.
The education system that we have was set up almost 100 years ago to provide about an 8th grade level of literacy to the majority of our people who are going to go and work in the burgeoning mass production factories and so on, and retail sales and all of that around the country, and to provide a much higher level of education for not more than 15% of the people who would be professionals and managers and run the country. We still have that system. What that means for the United States is the past is no longer anywhere near good enough because the requirement has utterly changed. Most educators get angry when they are pressed on the accomplishments of our system because they say we're doing better than we used to do. And they're right. But it's irrelevant. The question is not how we're doing compared to how we used to do. The question is how well we're doing compared to how we need to do. And the requirement is utterly different because the dynamics of the global economy have changed so much.
Is it fair to compare, say, Singapore and what they've done with their school system and reach this high quality?
That's right.
While it is multi-ethnic and multi-racial, not to the extent that we are, is it fair to compare where we stand in the world rankings, considering the size and complications of our own country?
It is fair. In my view, it is our states that need to solve this problem. And when you look at our states, there are plenty of states that are 5 million or less. In the United States, every one of our states has all the constitutional authority it needs to do anything and everything any one of these other countries have done. If you look at Canada, you will find that it performs much better than we do on average. It is entirely a state-based system. Their national government has virtually no authority for education. If you look at Australia, you find that they have a level of diversity by a variety of criteria that is almost as great as ours, and student performance, which is much, much better. If you look at the PISA data, you find something really interesting. One of the questions that they asked of their data was, to what degree does socioeconomic background predict academic performance? Of 36 countries that answered the questions on which this data was based, there are only 3 that perform worse on this measure than the United States. That is to say, socioeconomic background, parents' financial status basically, is a better predictor of student performance in the United States than in all but 3 countries. So for all these reasons, I would say to you, we cannot use diversity as an excuse for not being among the top performers. What the United States is now deeply involved in is a form of denial. We have many folks on the left and many folks on the right with a long list of excuses for doing nothing, and those excuses are taking the form of American exceptionalism. We're different because. We can't do that because. I could bore you for the next hour with the list, and I can give you an answer to every one of them. But it doesn't actually matter because the world doesn't care about our excuses. If we don't match the performance of these other countries, if we don't produce that level of skills, our wages will continue to fall until they meet those of the Chinese and the Filipinos and the Thais coming up. We have a long way to go down.